Now in this video we are going to deal about the cube root of unity. Now the cube root of unity is denoted by omega. This is not w, it's just a bit of curved w and is denoted by omega. Now before we start, you just need to subscribe to my channel Math Oxo. Now in this video, as I said, we are going to deal about the cube root of unity. Now say I want to find the cube root of unity, right? So that's the cube root of unity, that's positive 1. I want to find the cube root of unity. Now you might say that the cube root of 1 is of course 1 only. Yes, that's what you know, that the cube root of 1 is 1. But if you see, then I would say that 1, the cube root of 1 would have 3 answers. Now why, how can I say that cube root of 1 would have 3 answers? Well, I can prove it, that let omega be equal to the cube root of 1. I'm just writing negative 1, it's positive 1. So let omega be the cube root of positive 1. Now what I do, I cube both sides. So I take the cube on both sides. So I cube this side and similarly I cube this side. So I take the cube on both sides, I cube both sides, and I get omega cube equals to, so if I cube this, by definition it should be 1, because I am finding the cube root of 1. So if we cube the cube root of something, then we get that number only, that number. So we get omega cube is equal to 1, or we can get omega cube minus 1 equals to 0. Now see, this is an equation in the third degree because we have 3 here. So the highest power is 3, so it's a third degree equation. And now we know that a third degree equation would have 3 solutions. So omega cube minus 1 would have 3 solutions. Now if I can say that omega cube minus 1, that's the cube root of unity, this omega would have 3 solutions, then what are the other 2 solutions? That's the main aim of this video. Now yeah, now what we going to do is that we are going to do remember a bit of algebra. Now see, omega cube minus 1, now 1 can be written as 1 cube, that does not affect. We can write 1 as 1 cube only. Now remember, we studied a formula, a cube minus b cube, that's just equal to a minus b times a square plus ab plus, right? So this is a square plus ab plus b square. So a cube minus b cube equals to a plus b times a square plus ab plus b square. So that's the formula we studied in algebra, right? So we are going to apply this here. We are going to apply, say we are going to take omega as a, this omega as a, and 1 as b. So now let's apply this formula. Then this would be omega, this is omega minus 1, that's omega minus 1 times omega square plus omega plus 1 equals to 0. So that's it. So I get omega minus 1 times omega square plus omega plus 1 equals to 0. So if this is the form we have usually seen in quadratic equation, but this is not a quadratic equation, well, but we can write it. So we can say that either omega minus 1 is 0, so from here we get omega equals to 1. That's what we have said, that the cube root of 1 is 1. That's what you might have thought. But we also have this form here. So we also have omega square plus omega plus 1 equals to 0. Now see, this is a quadratic equation. So let's apply the quadratic formula that we have learned previously. Now let's the pen, yeah. So now omega, so see, suppose I have a quadratic equation as ax square plus bx plus c equals to 0, equals to should be here, so equals to 0, then the solution of this quadratic equation is given by the formula x equals to negative b plus minus square root of b square minus 4 times ac divided by 2a. Now what is this a, b and c? Well, these are the coefficients of the x square, x, and of course the last term respectively. So in this case, see, in this equation here x is my omega here, and where if I see it's 1 times omega, and similarly here also it's 1 times omega square, this is 1 times omega, and this is 1. So we get a equals to b equals to c equals to 1 because all the coefficients are 1. So omega, the solution of this omega would be negative 1 plus minus square root of 1 square is 1, then minus 4 times 1 into 1, that's 4 divided by 2, right? So that is omega equals to negative 1 plus minus square root of c, 1 minus 3 is negative 3 divided by 2. Now we can write that's negative 1 plus minus, we can write negative 3 as root 3, that's a real number, times root negative 1 divided by 2. Now the square root of negative 1 is I, so we get omega equals to negative 1 plus minus 3i, I'm sorry, root 3i divided by 2. So omega, so since this is plus minus, it can be plus and minus, that's both, it can take both the values. Now so we say that the cube root of 1, that's cube root of 1 equals to 1, that's the real answer, that's the real, but we have to also imaginary answers, that is minus 1 plus cube root of 3, square root of 3 by 2, and minus 1 minus square root of 3i divided by 2. So these are the three cube roots of 1. Now what you need to know here is that you need to remember is this, where it's gone, yeah, this equation. You need to remember this equation. It's omega square plus omega plus 1 equals to 0. Now this equation would hold true only if you take omega square and omega as the imaginary cube roots of 1. So if you take omega in this term, if you take one imaginary cube root, and in this you take another imaginary cube root and the plus 1, this would always lead to 0. This identity you need to remember. Now as I said in this videos, I've decided to add some challenge sums in my videos. That is, after every video I'm going to present a sum that you need to do, and that's called a challenge sum. Now this challenge sum for today, it's you need to solve it, right? So you need to prove it. So prove that what AB brackets AB plus CB times omega plus CA omega square the whole square plus AB omega plus BC omega square plus CA omega CA whole square, then again plus we have AB omega square plus BC omega only BC plus CA omega only. So that is equal to 0. Now I have to prove that AB plus CB omega plus CA omega square the whole square plus AB omega plus CB omega square plus CA whole square plus AB omega square plus BC plus CA omega the whole square equals to 0. Now you need to prove this, and for the solution, don't worry, I'll upload it in my next video. Now you need to subscribe to my channel so that you get notified about my videos and all.